Queensland Government has brought out the Small Business Adaption Grant, which is in response to the COVID-19 grant, similar to what New South Wales and Victoria have done. Let's have a look and see what you can spend the money on. So it's $10,000 and for eligible businesses, and I'll go through that in a minute. But you can spend it on pretty much anything. So here I've described, here it's written, financial, legal, any other professional advice to help you with it. Strategic planning, anything to do with marketing, communications. There's also a fair amount of focus on the digital, so digital technology. So obviously people can't visit you, so how can you get your business online? So digital training, digital technology, any capital costs, or anything to really help you with what's going on with the business. So let's have a quick look through the application form. And so here we come through the eligibility. So you really need to be able to demonstrate that you have lost business because of COVID-19. The date that they've set is the 23rd of March. And then obviously you need to have fewer than 20 employees. So it's on, based on micro and small businesses. The business is based here in Queensland because obviously Queensland Government's paying for this. You have an annual turnover of $75,000 in the last financial year, and you'll need to provide evidence of that. So that's going to be your bank statement, or it's going to be a profit and loss. So once again, a small company, so it can't have a payroll of more than $1.3 million. And then you're going to need to show the impact of COVID-19. So the number that's being used at the moment is 30%. So upload your BAS or any other documentation to prove that your income has dropped by 30%. If it hasn't, you have some area where you can put additional comments, or you may allude to other reasons why it may not drop 30%, but you expect it to drop 30%. So there's where you can put the additional comments. And then here we just have information about the company particulars, so the ABN, the address that you've got, website, contact details. So it's all pretty self-explanatory. You get to the industry sector, and obviously this grant is going to be favouring the tourism, arts, food and beverage, and retail and fitness. So they're the main impact businesses. So they'll be favouring those businesses. If you're not in that area, it's going to be harder to prove that you've been impacted. So how long have you been trading for? How many employees did you have before March? Turnover, gross profit, any other programs that you've been involved in, like the Mentoring for Growth. And there's obviously going to be some focus on the other disadvantaged groups, so women in business, disability, seniors, any cultural or linguistically diverse entities. And then we talk about how long the business has been closed for, what's the revenue loss, how many staff did you need to reduce, trading hours that's lost, and what percentage of capacity. So you still may be running, still may be open, but your capacity may be down. So you may have been a restaurant that's had full service, sit-down meals, but now you can only serve takeaway coffees. So talk about why your business has been shut down. So we can talk about restricted activities. That's fairly obvious in the Chief Health Officer's guidance. So then it comes to the project. So this is about adaption. So give the title of the project an indication of how you're going to respond to the change. So you might be a restaurant and you don't do any delivery service. So you may want to get a platform to help you with delivery, or getting a e-commerce or web store up and running, so you can start doing online deliveries because you haven't got a retail presence. So talk about the description of activities, and the focus once again is on adaptation. How you're going to, because the impacts of COVID may be around for a long time. The social distancing may be there for a while, so you may not be able to operate your business as usual. And even if you can operate as usual, people may not be coming in. So you need to have that adaptation to other forms of income or ways to distribute your product, if that's the case. And so here are the ways that you can do it. once again, there's a big emphasis on the digital strategy or the digital side of the adaption. So talk about the start date, the end date. Must be within 6 months of the proposed start date. So 3 months is probably a good time to get these things up and running. If you're taking longer than that, then they're probably wondering what you're doing with your time. And then here is probably one of the main sections. Provide a statement describing how the funding will contribute to the business during COVID-19. So capability, resilience, continuity, diversification, employment retention or outcomes, and or digital capability of the business. So once again, it's about adaptation, how you're going to increase your business, how you're going to get your business back to where it was, and it may be diversifying into another stream. So talk about the forecast annual revenue that you're going to be having. So you're going to get back to normal. Keep it conservative, keep it realistic, and talk about the staff you're going to put back on. And then, so the minimum grant is $2,000. So they want just sizable projects to be put forward. And it's going to be fairly obvious if, and they'll see a lot of digital and creative agencies putting applications in for their clients and doing it on a mass scale. So if you're getting this done by someone that's doing this for everyone, they're going to see that, and they'll also be able to contrast between what is a realistic price to do something, to set up a website. So they'll have a good cross-section of who's exploiting small business. They might not give you the full amount, or they might say, hey, this is not a good supplier. Go with someone that is treating these companies fairly. So, and that's obviously why they're asking for the business name for the supplier, because they'll be seeing, is there 100 applications from the same supplier charging companies $10,000 to build a website? And so, comments about the proposed supplier. If you've worked with them in the past, that's going to look good. It means they haven't just flown in to try and get all this money and take advantage of small business at this time. So definitely upload a supplier's quote. Once again, if it's going to look generic and the same as everyone else that's put in, it's not going to be as highly regarded. So make it specific to what you want and what you're doing. And then you may have another business. It may be your accountant. It may be another advisor to help you with digital strategy or transitioning to online. Once again, there's some commentary around that. So we talk about the software subscription. So there may be evidence in your industry about how people have moved online using this software. So leverage off that. Get a quote. Don't put anything in without a quote. Don't put in something you've handwritten on, or just to type up your own Word document. Make sure it's actually legit from the supplier. So some more supplier details. So obviously they're allowing you a few different suppliers. So if you can go to different companies, that's going to look good. If you go to one company, it might seem like they're getting a margin and taking advantage of small business again. So yeah, if you're doing a bit more homework yourself, going out to all the suppliers, knowing what you want to do, that's going to look good for your application. Up to 6 suppliers. Okay, so add up all the total costs. If it adds up to exactly $10,000, that's not going to look as good as someone who's actually got a very detailed quote process, and it is a non-round number. Put in your bank details, pretty simple, and then a few tick boxes, privacy statement, and you satisfy that it's all above board. They will audit these things. They will pick up on anyone that's trying to be dodgy and trying to scam small business, because whenever money's being thrown out, you find people that want to try and scam it for themselves. And then submit your application. Best of luck with getting out of COVID-19 and getting the $10,000 grant.